Hey everyone, Art Burns here, wishing you well today. Welcome back to the YouTube channel and the Showing Up to Your Life podcast. I'm really excited to be here with you. Today is Christmas Eve, and for all of you who celebrate the Christmas holiday, I wish you a very Merry Christmas. And for all of you who celebrate other holidays at this time of year, I wish you the happiest holidays. And I really just want you to know how much I appreciate everyone who likes and comments and gives me feedback about these videos and podcasts I do every day. It's just been an absolute pleasure to get to know some of you and to really, it just warms my heart to know that people are out there benefiting from these messages that I'm sending out. And so thank you, everyone. Thank you very, very much. And I wish you well. And so one last thing before I'm going to take a break for a few days. Tomorrow I'll be off because of Christmas with my kids, and then so I'll be back next week with some more videos. But for now, I wanted to sort of wrap it. It feels very much like the end of something, just this I don't know, the time of year and the whole, that whole thing with the Saturn and Jupiter converging and aligning, and I don't know, there's something about this feels like we're kind of turning a page, and of course nobody's going to be sorry to turn this page on 2020, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's going to miss it after it's gone. So I just wanted to kind of, once again, share a little bit of a compassion practice that you can do. Very simple practice that you can do that will help you to kind of, practice compassion. I was just on the phone with a client this morning or video call actually, and he, I mean, just in like, he's been doing some compassion practices for, I think this is the third week, and he's like, he can't believe the difference it's made in his life, and just the way that he sees things, the way that he feels, and the way that, he just processes the experiences that he's having in his life already after just 3 weeks of a few times a day, like, just spending, I mean, total maybe 5 minutes a day, something like that. And I mean, he also does some mindfulness practices and meditation, but the compassion is what's really, I mean, he's like, this is what my body needed. This is exactly what I needed. And he said something really interesting this morning, is that he said that he always felt like he was compassionate. Right? He feels like he cares about other people. He feels like he has compassion for others. If he sees somebody struggling, he'll help them, and that's the way most of us feel, right? And that's the way it is for most of us. But the thing is that, it's so easy to slip into the old natural habits that we have, because as I've told you here a lot of times before, we are practicing something, whether we're intentionally practicing mindfulness or heartfulness, which is the compassion side of mindfulness, whether we're intentionally practicing that or we're unwittingly practicing the opposite of that, right? We're practicing something. And so what happens is when we feel like, I feel like I'm a compassionate person, my client said, right? So he feels like, if he sees somebody who's struggling, he will help that person. And that is a definition of compassion, right? Is to suffer with someone, to want to, relieve somebody's suffering by standing with them. Right? And yeah, we all feel that way, right? But if we practice, but at the same time, we can find ourselves, feeling anger towards people, or resentment towards people, or vengeful feelings towards people, right? And at the same time, where we think, oh, I'm a compassionate person, I'll help somebody who falls down on the ground, but yet I'm angry and I'm resentful to the point where I have vengeful feelings about this other person. Well, what that means is that your compassion is kind of fragmented, and fractured in a way. And so you're not, if that's the way we're living, and that's the way most of us are living, right? And it's not that you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or anything like that. But what it means is that, it means that you're not practicing compassion, right? It means that you're compassion when you feel the call to compassion, which is beautiful, and you deserve a lot of credit for that, and I thank you for that compassion. But to practice compassion is to, as my client this morning, one of the practices I gave my client just last week was to go through 3 different people, right? Start with yourself, and then 3 different people. One person who's very easy to practice compassion for, somebody who, you just love so much. Then somebody who's neutral, a cashier that at a local grocery store, but you don't even know the person's name, a barista, somebody who works in your office, you don't know them well. You think of this person doesn't think good, doesn't think bad, doesn't think anything, right? So that neutral person, right? And then finding someone who boils your soup a little bit, and it gets up your sleeve a little bit, right? And to wish compassion for that person, while it's very challenging, that's what gets us to kind of feel that compassion for even those people who do things that hurt us, right? And so what my client said this morning, after just a week, he said he's run out of those people in that third category, right? That difficult category of the easy, neutral, and difficult, right? And so I mean, think about that, right? He's run out of the people who he feels resentment towards, and that's the idea, right? Because feeling resentment for someone is not good for you, and it doesn't affect anything in the other person. I always laugh about that. Like, I used to feel that way all the time. I used to feel like if I could hold this anger for somebody, and I could feel the anger hard enough that somehow it would impact that person in a negative way, right? And I would get my taste of sweet revenge, right? That dish best served cold, as they say, right? But then I laugh because I think of it and I realize that while I'm sitting here just, like getting myself into such levels of stress, not really showing up for my family and my friends or myself, I'm damaging my health, I'm not feeling good because of all of this rage that I have for this person. And meanwhile, I picture that person that is probably sitting on an easy chair with a remote control in one hand and a cold beer in the other hand and could not care less about what I feel about them. Right? And that's the point, right? That there's no amount of discompassion or whatever the opposite of compassion. There's no amount of that anger or hatred or disdain that we might feel for somebody that is going to do anything except hurt you, right? As Mark Twain said, anger is an acid that does more damage to the vessel in which it is stored than the person on whom it is poured. Right? Which means that your anger does not hurt the person that you're angry at, it only hurts you. Right? And if you want to go back a little further, the Buddha himself wrote that anger is like holding a hot coal in your hand that you're planning to throw at somebody, right? So you're holding this hot coal and it's burning you. It's damaging your body. And just so that someday you might get the chance to throw it at somebody, right? And so what is that doing, right? Does that make sense? Of course it doesn't make sense, right? So this time of year, there's, obviously, not obviously, but a lot of people and a lot of times at this time of year, we tend to have compassion on our minds a little bit more. We tend to give to charities. We tend to, gift giving to others. That's a level of compassionate, altruistic endeavor, right? And so it's really a kind of common thing to be thinking about this time of year. So I want to give you a couple of thoughts of ways that you can kind of bring compassion into all the different moments of your life, okay? I'm going to give you a couple of examples and then see if you can come up with others, because it's really, the opportunities to practice compassion are all around us. And when we can do it all the time, that's when we literally physically make changes to the way that we process the world, right? And we can process the world in through this lens, this prism of compassion and kindness. And again, if anger is an acid that hurts you inside, as Mark Twain told us, right? Well, then compassion is like a salve. It's like something that nourishes us, that brings us happiness and brings us joy and brings us well-being. It brings us health in mind, body, and spirit, emotionally, physically, and mentally, right? And so the idea then is to, if we can, get to the point where we're kind of always practicing compassion. And I don't mean that to sound like, oh my gosh, I gotta always be practicing something. That sounds really hard, Art. Why would I want to do that? It's not like that, right? When we're practicing compassion, what I mean by that is just to have compassion in the forefront of our attention and our awareness all the time, right? And when we can do that, right, again, it's good for us. right? It's good for you to do this. Yes, it's going to benefit those around you, right? Yes, your family is going to benefit greatly. Your loved ones are going to benefit greatly. Even that young person behind the counter at a store that you go to, they are going to benefit greatly from this attitude of compassion that you carry with you, right? But more than any of them, you are going to benefit from this. Okay, you are going to experience less stress. You are going to experience better sleep. You're going to experience better health, physically, mentally, emotionally, right? Your well-being is going to go up. Right? And that is by doing something that actually feels really good at the same time, right? Anytime and this is why this time of year is so beautiful in certain ways. Like, if you get past the whole, concept of the consumerism and the, people in the stores, as I said the other day, beating each other up over Cabbage Patch dolls and stuff like that. If you can get past that stuff, you really get in touch with this concept of giving, right? And how does it feel to you when you give a gift to someone? And it's very natural, right? I mean, I have a daughter who's 12 years old, and I swear she barely asked for, she only thought of herself like 3 days ago and told us what she wanted for Christmas. But meanwhile, she has either purchased or made and wrapped like 10 different gifts for all of her friends and her family. And it's just so wonderful to see. This is the natural state of us, right? This is not something that we taught her how to do. This is coming from deep within her heart, right? And that's what this time of year brings out in all of us, right? We tend to think about it. How does it feel to you? How does it feel in your heart physically to give a gift, right? I mean, I get chills just thinking about it, right? And so so if we can always be in that place, just think about how good that feels, right? Just feeling that kind of, buzzy, exciting, and just happy, glowing feeling that you get when you give to someone, right? And so the thing is that, giving a gift to someone does not have to be a wrapped thing with a bow on it that costs money, that, all of that. It could very much be, right, just your attention. It could be just your acknowledgement of the existence of another person, right? I mean, because that's what we want, right? We're all looking to just be seen and be heard and be understood, right? Love and understanding. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen master, and the embodiment of compassion and peace on earth. He says that love and understanding are the same thing. Right? That when we truly love someone is when we truly understand them. And when we truly understand them, that's when we know them so well that they are part of our compassion, right? And so this is something that is so good for us. Right? It's so good for us, right? So here's a little practice that I want to kind of leave you with today. And I know this is a short episode. I didn't really plan anything today because, quite frankly, I was up very, very late last night. I was setting up my son's PS4, and thank goodness I did that. And pro tip, right, for any of you parents out there who bought your child this year one of those kind of things, like a video game kind of setup, do yourself a favor and spend some time tonight and hook it up, because I had to register for an account for him. I had to register an account for me. It took me, and you're doing it with like a console on like, it's like when you log into Netflix, right? It's like, deep, 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 A, deep, 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 art. And it took me like 2.5 hours to do this. And I could only imagine as I was sitting there doing it, like thinking about Christmas morning, my son just raging because he can't play with his video game, So do yourself the favor and spend some time tonight and hook it up, and then put it back in the box and wrap it up, and now it's set for him. All he has to do is log in, and now it's like good to go. So you might want to think about doing that for yourself. Again, this is a compassion for yourself as well as for whoever is that you bought that gift. And so anyway, here's a quick little practice, right? Because the thing is that there's so many opportunities. In fact, there's almost limitless opportunities that we have to practice compassion for others, right? And so here's a couple of my favorites. All right, now back in the before times, when we were all going regularly to all different places, we were all around other people a lot. I would tell you to stop every hour or so and just pause for about 10 seconds, and anyone you can see around you, just wish that person well or those people well. But we don't do that so much anymore. So I've developed a couple of other ways in which I get people to bring compassion into the throughout the day kind of thing, right? So one way is with food, right? Like we all shop for food and we all eat food, right? That's one thing that we're all, we all do, right? And so a really great practice of compassion and also mindfulness, right? Because you're bringing awareness to something, right? You're being intentional about it. So it's going to touch a lot of bases that are going to be good for you, okay? It's going to lower stress. It's going to give you better fulfillment. It's going to give you a happiness and a purpose and really good stuff, right? So when you're picking up a piece of food that you're about to, whether you're eating the food or you're preparing the food or you're buying the food, right? At any step or all three of those steps, like last night, I was making some broccoli for my wife and my son, right? And I took that broccoli and as I was rinsing it off, right, I had this head of broccoli in my hand, and I love vegetables. I'm a vegetable fan, and I love to just kind of think about these vegetables growing so plentifully, abundantly. But then you think about, to bring compassion into this, you think about the fact that while I have this broccoli in my hand right now, and I'm about to, wash it and cut it and cook it for my family, which is in and of itself an act of compassion, right? I can also think about all of the different people. Now, I didn't grow the broccoli myself. Maybe you have a garden and you grow your own, in which case you'd have to choose something different. But for me, I bought this broccoli at a store, right? And so therefore, I know that there are several different people who were involved with getting me this broccoli so that I could make this and nurture and nourish my family with this food, right? So there's the farmer, right? There's the person who plants the seeds. He goes out in a tractor, early in the morning. He works really hard to cultivate this farm that grows this beautiful vegetable, right? And now there's the person who goes out and picks the broccoli, right? They slice it off and they put it into a box or something, right? And then there's the person who puts that broccoli into a box to be shipped, right? And then there's the person who puts it on the truck. There's the person who drives the truck. There's the person who drives the boat or the plane or whatever it is, right? And then there's the person who takes that box off of a truck and puts it into a refrigerator at a grocery store. And then there's the person who puts a label on it and puts it on a shelf and makes it look just nice, right? You go into stores, and especially in the produce section, these fruits and vegetables are arranged in such a beautiful way, And so somebody did that. Somebody took their hands and their mind and their senses and they created that, right? And then of course there's the person who checked me out and took my money in exchange for this beautiful vegetable that now I'm bringing home, I'm washing, I'm cutting, and I'm cooking, right? So thinking about that whole cycle and all of those different people involved, right? For each one of those people, I can take just a second or a few seconds and just think about, well, gosh, I'm so grateful, and I wish you health and well-being. I love the fact that you were here to do this, because if there was one of those people weren't there, right, then I wouldn't have this broccoli in my hand, right? Now, of course, you can argue that, like, yeah, somebody else could have driven the truck, somebody else could have, self-serve checkout and all that. Yeah, but you get my point, right? Is that without this contribution from so many different people, I don't have this broccoli in my hand, right? And so I take a moment and I think about those people and I wish those people well. I say to them, I say, I hope that you are well compensated. I hope that you are happy. I hope that you're free of fear. I hope that you're free of suffering. And I hope you feel loved today, and I hope you're happy today. Right? There's actually 6 different phrases that I use that I could share with you if you'd like. Okay, they're very simple. May you be well. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from fear and insecurity. May you be forgiven for your mistakes and your misdeeds. May you feel loved. May you be happy. right? So you can say that to each one of these people, right? You don't have to say it 6 different times. You can just picture all of them and just say it to them, right? Say it to them in your mind, right? And another really common way to do this, another really great opportunity to practice in this way is with our clothing. Right, so this is my favorite shirt ever. I mean, this heart is like my favorite. It's from a sanctuary farm here, so it's made up of a bunch of farm animals: a cow, a horse, a sheep, I think, and probably a chicken. I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. I don't. It's my favorite shirt. I don't even know. A pig, a goat, a cow, and a horse. I'm pretty sure it is. And so it's beautiful, right? And so I think about the people who work on this farm, right? But also what I do is not this shirt necessarily, but what I think about is like when I grab a shirt to put it on, right, or a pair of pants to put it on, or whatever, right? Every morning we get dressed, right? So this is a great opportunity. Look at the label of your shirt or now again, if it's a special shirt, which like somebody special gave it to you. I mean, I got this from volunteering at this farm, right? And so that was there's a very special sort of memory attached to this. So I can just wish well to those people who are working alongside of me at the farm, right? But in a case where it's just a shirt, right, that you bought at, Target or whatever, wherever you bought your shirt, right? You look at the label, right, and look where it's made, right? This is an exercise I do from time to time and I'm sharing with you, okay? Look where your shirt is made. And so you'll see some, quite often it's a country outside the U.S., right? Maybe it's Indonesia, maybe it's Vietnam, maybe it's, wherever, Bangladesh. And so you take a look at that label, and the reason why I look at the label to see where this shirt came from is because it gives you that sense of global positioning, right? Like Bangladesh is a long way away, right? And again, there are so many people who went into the process, who contributed to the process of getting this shirt to a place where I could, obtain it, and I can wear it every day and use it for my own, to clothe myself, right? And so, again, there's the people who stitched it in the shop, right? And there's the people who put it in a box. There's people who put it on a truck or a plane or a boat. There's people who unpacked it from the truck, the plane, the boat. There's people who put it on the shelf at the store. There's people who put a label on it and all that stuff, and on and on and on and on, right? And right up to the person checking out, who I can say, and that's the only person in the whole process, is the person who's checking me out, that I can say, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your help. Right? And I can look them in the eye and I can say that to them. I can say, thank you for your help, right? Which is what I do. And that's compassion, right? It's being, it's connecting to someone. It's giving them something that I'm trying to do that to make them feel good, right? But again, that's the only person in the whole process who I have any direct, contact with, right? But there's probably 10 or 15 different people who were involved with getting this shirt to me. Right? And of course, this plays into some level of integrity, right? Because now I tend to go towards, because I'm thinking about the people who are making my clothes, right? I am very, aware of where the clothes I'm buying are coming from, right? Now, am I perfect? No, I'm not, right? Some of my clothes, yes, are probably made in a sweatshop, and they're workers who are being exploited, right? And so I can honor their suffering. Right? I can honor their suffering and hope that they find relief to their suffering, right? But I can also make choices now to buy my clothes, buy my vegetables, buy my products of whatever kind from places that don't exploit people, right? And that's something that now I'm more aware of, and I become more aware of it because of this compassion practice. Right? And so check into that and see if there's any areas of your life that you can apply this same practice to. You might be surprised at how many opportunities there are to practice compassion this way. And if you do, then, if you do this every day, just with your clothes or just with your food or both of them, every day for about 8 weeks, then you are making changes in the way that you process the world around you, and you're processing things through the compassion in your heart. And this is something that is really, really beautiful. And aside from that, one last thing I'm going to leave you with here today is that as you're going through, seeing the family or not seeing the family, or, kind of working through the day and getting yourself home and maybe doing some last minute shopping and stuff, remember that just having a connection to others, right? Just making eye contact and saying a heartfelt word of kindness, right? That is a gift. And that is a gift for the people who are the object of your compassion, but it's also a gift for yourself. And so I invite you to give yourself that gift of compassion, because the return on the investment is astronomical. All right, everybody. Thanks again for watching. Thank you again for listening. If you'd like those phrases that I told you written down real quick, I can send them to you. Just email me and let me know you need them. Otherwise, if you need any help in developing this for yourself, I mean, I've just rattled off a few practices. I have hundreds of these different practices that I could share with you. And if a lot of times, again, my client this morning said, I always thought I was compassionate. Right? And so sometimes what people need is somebody to help them through the process, to get them to the place where they are, always practicing compassion and doing so in an automatic way. And so if you would like some help with that, then I can certainly talk to you about how I can help you with that. All right, everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Ramadan, happy holidays to all of you who are celebrating at this time of year. Whatever it is that you're celebrating, I hope that you have a wonderful time, and I wish you well. I'll be back in a few days on Monday to do some more podcasts and YouTube videos. From my heart, I wish you well. Take care, everybody.